Hello and welcome to AntipoDnD, a show in which a bunch of Australians play Dungeons and Dragons in a setting partly inspired by prehistoric Australia and New Zealand. I am David, I'm the Dungeon Master of this show. I am joined by Doug, April and Zindi. Kynwyn is not able to join us tonight, she will be back next week. On the video, Kynwyn is currently replaced by actually a piece of art that she did herself, so she didn't know I was going to be using it for this, but there it is. Ha. So, it's been a few weeks off, and I'm sorry we weren't here last week. That was largely my fault. Beginning of this year, I just went onto a waiting list for hospital procedure. Perfectly fine, just a routine checkup. But it's the kind of thing of when the hospital contacts you and says, hey, can you come in next Friday? You say yes. So that interrupted the show, but everything is fine, and we will be back to our weekly schedule from now on, unless something terrible happens to the world, which is possible, I guess. So,
I mean, it already did.
Even more terrible happens.
Please no.
Yes, on that note, in our last session that wasn't a honey heist, a great many things happened. To summarize, the free city-state of Providence was attacked. Our heroes had been investigating the Tarthian delegation. They confirmed that, yes, indeed, the whole thing was a ruse on their part. They weren't looking for peaceful relations. They were looking for a way to destroy the crystal that housed the power of Desmina, the goddess who protects the city, and they succeeded. And in the process, they also, the Tarthians also killed most of the members of the Council of Providence, you know, the elders of the city. They, as well as all who were attending to them at the time, including a number of crystal guards and some members of the public who were watching proceedings. And our heroes were, however, able to stop the Tarthians from, or at least slow down their progress of destroying a statue which was blocking an old Tarthian teleportation circle. And even though the Tarthians were eventually able to clear the space, Aussie, played by April, was able to essentially sabotage the teleportation circle, stopping the leader of the Tarthians from using it to either escape or summon reinforcements. Her intentions were not entirely clear, but she did eventually teleport out anyway, the last survivor after a climactic battle on the ground floor of the Panopticon.
And now she's got protag scars, so
yes.
She's definitely coming back.
Yes, there was a heat metal from Vitericus, very much MVP of that fight, I think, or MVS, most valuable spell, which caused Kovafen to tear off her golden mask of ascendancy. And it is now one of Vitericus's trophies. Yes, we may or may not be seeing Kovafen again one day. I do love it when players just hand you a recurring villain on a platter.
Perfect. All the shots of her are going to be with her face in shadow. I'll get you next time. Gadget.
Gold is glinting.
Yeah, it'll be shadow, except these lines that just shine in the firelight. So following the fight, our heroes went outside and saw that the power of Desmina that had been unleashed from the crystal and had taken over most of the people of the city and caused them in pure rage to seek vengeance on the Tarthians who had dared to undo the sanctity of this city, to attack what Desmina had sworn to protect. The power which seemed so overwhelming for many of the citizens that they looked prepared to throw themselves into the harbour to attack the airships or the sort of submarine carriers that had risen out of the harbour to launch these airships that started bombing the city. the power was then withdrawn from the people somehow and coalesced into an enormous being of titanic proportions made of this glowing blue light that proceeded to strike out, destroy the bombers, stride through the city, causing a bit of a mess on the way as it did, and wade into Fool's Bay beside the city and destroy the 2 submarines. Along with this rather spectacular event, there were earthquakes, the ground is warping. It was absolute chaos as the city seemed shaken to its very foundation. You know, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, and then everything froze. And our heroes found themselves in conversation with Desmina herself, the goddess, as well as who in this vision was simply a small girl who they had previously seen in common ground. And along with them there was contemplation, normally known as Connie, the mute tiefling. And a number of things were said. Desmina had words for each of our heroes as well as for Connie herself. And it concluded with the power of Desmina that she had temporarily taken back to herself to directly control that, so that she had become more than just a splintered god, more than just a persona. In order to separate the power from her again, she transferred that power into Connie, essentially making her an avatar of Desmina. And Desmina revealed somewhat cryptically that she would have to rest or sleep for a while, and she did not know when she would be back. And it was at that point that our heroes were returned to the world. The madness that had crossed over the city had gone in an instant, and our heroes found themselves on the plateau outside the ruins of the Panopticon, part of which had collapsed during the various earth tremors that had struck the city. So that is where we're going to immediately pick things up. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm not going to turn this into an episode of disaster relief. And actually, a bit of a warning while we're doing this. There will be a little bit of talk about the aftermath of an earthquake. So if you have PTSD related to that kind of natural disaster, I don't know, maybe skip the first half of this episode or something like that. Hopefully you will know what to do. So I am going to switch to the map. So that's now visible on the video. So this is a new state of Providence. Our heroes do not, immediately see everything that's been done to the city. For viewers at home, for reference sake, the blue lines represent old artwork where things have changed. So there will be landslides and new fissures have appeared and things have moved around a little bit. So a question. Our heroes were basically in a little tableau of sadness, but also I imagine a little bit of relief that things did not go worse than they could have. But what happens next?
Is Izud still there? He ran up to meet us, right?
Yes, Izud is still there.
Cool.
And he's looking at the four of you with a bit of a concern on his face, because he has no idea what the four of you have just experienced.
How does he look? Has he been through some stuff? Like, is he kind of a little bit scraped up? Is it hot?
Yeah, I think I mentioned last time that his robes are a little sort of charred and damaged. He's got a few minor scratches on his face.
What would he have seen when we were speaking to Desmina? Were we still there? Was it just in our heads? Like,
It
Uh,
probably happened in like a split second. It had time stop, remember?
it did, yeah. It
oh, that's it. It was a time stop.
yeah. Basically, everything slowed down from your
Everything went.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I think they were in a cuddle pile, so I think Aussie's gonna get up.
Yeah, everyone was crying.
Yeah. Izzy, what happened to the school?
It's well, it's been attacked. There's been some damage.
Any deaths? Survivors? Do you know anything?
Definitely some deaths from what I saw. But
Right.
I thought it was important to come up here and find out what might be the cause for all this.
Oh, right. I mean, Tarth attacked. They tried to use the portal in the Panopticon to get more troops through, but we stopped them.
Damn. I thought it might be something like that. All right. What's going on in there now? He looks over the ruins of the Panopticon, where you can see that, you know, one part, the top floors of the tower have completely collapsed. And he says, we need to find out if there are people in there who need help. Did you leave anyone inside?
I mean, I was mostly on the lower floor, but I think most of the Elder Council are dead.
And he looks not so much shocked as just very tired at this point. And he says, well, okay.
Dags would probably have something to say about that because she saw that one.
Yeah.
She'd probably fill him in, and then Morzod helpfully in it and goes, yeah, she's still got bits of dickhead in her.
Yeah, Dagmar would explain that there are 5 council members in there. All of them died, along with pretty much everyone else in the room except for herself and Captain Cadron. The last she saw, Captain Cadron was running upstairs. And I think Vitericus might have passed Cadron as Vitericus came down.
Possibly. Almost certainly.
Kova Fen got away too. She teleported out, but the other 2 high-ranking Tarthians, we killed them.
Not with this, though. I'm going to hold up the mask and sort of turn it in the light.
Izod looks at it and says, wow. Okay. Are there any...
Jesus, player characters.
Are there any more Tarthians in there that we need to deal with?
Not anymore.
Unless there
Don't
was
think
some
so.
hiding.
Aussie's going to hold up the other mask, the silver one. Not anymore.
Okay. Well, in that case, looks around and there are a few guards around here who are actually rushing back into the Panopticon. It looks like they're looking to help look for survivors. And it says, okay, I should get back to the academy, I think. See what else needs to be done. If the attack is finished, there are going to be people there who still need help.
Oh, I want to go with you.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Not now, Izid, but perhaps tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to need to speak to your Bard's College.
Says, all right.
Whatever's left of them.
Hopefully there is still one. I'll find out.
Morzod is kind of staring at the Panopticon, and then like you can see a penny dropping on him, and he goes, "The kids! He's just decided that now is the time to run to common ground because, oh my god, the kids, are they okay?
Okay. And I think Kynwyn left instructions that Dagmar was going to do the same.
I believe she did want to go to common ground, yes.
Yes, via the magic shop.
Yeah, via the magic shop, that's right.
That's
yes.
it.
Yeah. And Vitericus, what are you doing?
I'm going to follow the guards into the Panopticon just to make sure that the peasants that we left in there, or like the common guys who we left in there, are okay, and to have a quick chat with the priest.
Cool.
I assume soon to be High Priest of Desmina in there. Basically, are they okay? What do they need in the immediate short term? And what's their name?
Cool. So we'll do Vatericus first. You rush in, you find that most of the civilians who are in there had come out with you to view the city and see what was going on. The priest is still in there. You learn that his name is Herden Silverfin. He's a human in his 30s. He's relatively short. He's got light brown hair, but he's fairly heavily built. He's got green eyes.
Testicles like this.
He seems quite shaken by the whole thing, but you actually find him ascending from the steps down to the museum, helping the storyteller, Illiman,
Okay?
from below.
He's all right.
Illiman is also doesn't seem physically hurt, but he is rather confused and shaken by everything that has happened. But Herden says that he is, in terms of does he need anything, he says, no, he thinks that he's sure that there are many people in the city in far greater need than he is at the moment. He asks for you to search the ground floor of the Panopticon, see if there's anybody trapped who needs rescue, as it seems clear that everything above, probably the first floor, has been utterly destroyed.
Yep.
And if you assist with that, then you will find a few scared, confused civilians who basically just needed someone to tell, go outside, the building's not safe.
Hi, David.
Cool.
Sorry, I sent you a message real quick.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I guess once we round up everybody and get them outside, I'm going to gather the group and sing something, I think.
Okay.
Something that's like slightly lamenty and sad, but also sort of instilling resolve in the people. I'm basically going to use a song of rest to heal those who are injured or help them heal, and bolster the courage of those who are fine but a bit shaken.
Excellent.
A bit like your Peter Holland's on.
Yes.
Very nice, yeah.
Okay. I think by this point the rest of your party will have already started running down, so they won't benefit from that buff. But yes, a few of the civilians were injured and having magical healing on hand. It turns out to be a big benefit. The priest also goes around and tends to any who are wounded. He seems quite reluctant to leave the building because it is still the temple of Desmina. But it's up to you whether you try to convince him, no, you have to come out, this building is not safe, or you just leave him.
Yeah, I think as I sort of see him reluctantly sort of looking back at what's left of the temple and that sort of thing, I'm going to quietly move into his field of view and say, Herden, you saw it just as much as I did. The power of Desmina went to the people. Go out and help the people.
Persuasion roll with advantage, please, because of circumstances.
Persuasion with advantage. Well, that is a natural 20 for a total of 26.
Yeah, he is 100% turned around, and he there's this. You see his chest come forward, and he says, "You're right," and he storms out with you and immediately starts organizing everybody around him and triaging everyone and saying, okay, here's what we're doing, here's what needs to be done. You go and find someone who can do this. You search that building for supplies and so forth. So he's very much taking charge of things up here. And he does so, he looks at you and just gives you a nod of thanks.
I will nod back. And then I guess I will turn and head towards common ground as well, now that things up here are well in hand.
Okay. Now, the first thing you notice as you're heading down towards the civic district is that there was a path that led down this little plateau that the Panopticon was on, but the entire plateau has actually been shifted just a few meters to one side, which, and although it's still fairly stable because it's rock sitting on rock, the path has partly collapsed. However, you are able to gently make your way down, picking your way through fallen rocks and rubble. I'm not going to make you do any checks for it, but it does slow you down a bit, and it's clear that people aren't going to be wheeling any carts up and down this way for a while. So we will talk about Aussie and Izad later when April gets back from food, and we will have Vetericus. Well, first of all, Morzod and Dagmar rushing to common ground. So
by the magic shop to check that those ladies are okay.
Yeah. As you make your way through the civic district, you find that there's not, although you heard a lot of destruction and chaos, you're not seeing a lot up here. Some of the buildings, some roof tiles have fallen off, some windows have collapsed. There's feels like every single building has some minor damage done to it. But when you get to the wall that separates the civic district from Arena Square, you can see the large part of that defensive wall has come down along with one of the towers. You come into Arena Square, and ahead of you, you can see quite clearly that part of the arena has collapsed. So one of the stands on the eastern side has come down. The rest of the arena seems intact, and you can see there are a number of people milling around out in the open. Some certainly poking through the rubble, looking for anyone who's been injured, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of panic in this general area. You get the impression that when that side of the arena collapsed, it fell away from outside of the building rather than into it. So there's not a lot of rescue needed there, but there is also just this massive fissure that has opened up, cutting right through the square.
That's all good.
Yeah. On the map, I've drawn in some sort of temporary wooden bridges. They have not appeared there yet. They will be put up there a bit later. So at the moment, you have to just sort of climb down into the fissure and climb back up again. It's not too hard because it's it's not, a vertical drop. And it's only about 10 feet deep. But again, that's going to be a feature of the city, you realize. You step into Sabi's magic shop. In fact, before you even step in, you actually see her in the square. She's joined the number of people who are basically looking for something to do, looking for someone to help. And she seems to be mainly just sort of knocking on doors, walking around, shouting through windows, basically going, does anyone need help? Is everyone okay? Her shop doesn't appear to have suffered any damage.
Well, I suppose if we're passing by and we spot her, then Morzod would just quickly go, you two all right? Is everything okay?
And they say, well, as right I can be, I expect. I think we got pretty lucky around here, except for that. And she points at the great big fissure, and she says, I mean, that was too close. That was too close to us. So tell me, how long have you been in Providence?
Long enough. It's only been what? He kind of looks at Dags. He's like, what, like a week in it? Couple of weeks? Not very long. It's been pretty exciting.
He says, oh, so that's even not as long as me. Okay, so I was going to ask, does this kind of thing happen often here? But I guess you wouldn't know either.
No,
okay.
No. first time that we've seen, but yeah, who knows?
How are you? Are you okay? Do you need anything?
Oh, look, we'll be okay, but we got to go check on the kids.
Right, okay. Let me know if you need help, right?
Right, we'll do. You stay safe.
Dinosaur.
Dags would probably ask about the dinosaur, yeah.
And Subby says that, yes, it is finished. It's back in the shop. And if you can drop in, in a day or two, she can get it for you now if it's urgent, but otherwise drop in a day or two and she'll have it ready.
Feel like get it later.
Yeah.
All right, we dash onwards.
Okay, to make it simple, I'll say that Vitericus catches up with you while you're talking to Sabi. And so the three of you can run onto common ground. We're going to now cut back to Aussie and Izad, who run down to the Coruscant Academy. So you've also found as you head down that the path leading down from the Panopticon has partly collapsed, but you're able to pick your way down through sort of broken rocks and rubble without needing to make any skill checks because, I don't want to break your necks after the fight.
Mages are real floaty anyway.
Yeah. So you come to the academy. From the front gate, you can see that the top of the mage tower has been completely blown away. And it hasn't just collapsed and fallen around. It looks like something rather dramatic happened to it.
Tough lasers.
And as you move into the courtyard, you can see that one corner of the what's the word I'm looking for?
Courtyard?
Yeah.
The
quad?
The square?
The quad. Quad will do. Yeah, quad's a good word.
The quadrangle.
Has collapsed as part of the cliff face behind the academy. It's just fallen away into the sea. You can see there are a number of wounded and a few bodies in the courtyard, currently being tended to by Master Headstrong, who is the medic, as well as her half-elf assistant. And there are it's a combination of students sitting next to, kneeling with, talking to friends and colleagues who've been injured. Others looking around, standing around, just sort of looking at each other and talking and trying to comfort each other. So what does Aussie do on seeing all this?
He's going to ask Izud, where's the Archmate? Where's Shakur?
Izud points at the top of the mage tower and says, he was in that.
God, well, clearly they were targeting the school.
Yeah, or the tower at least. It was, they probably identified it as a good defensive position for magic users, so.
Has anyone found him or his body?
From what I can see, I'm not sure it would ever be possible to identify him from what would be left after that.
So there's no Archmage. There's no leadership.
Probably not at this point. It's that point that Master Headstrong notices Izad and shouts out, "Hey, get over here!" And Izad excuses himself and runs over, and they have a conversation. What is Aussie going to do?
Oh, is Zurasa around? Does he see a familiar sparkling metal friend?
Yes, Zurasa is helping with the triage and assessing injuries in a very scientific manner and working out who needs immediate treatment and who can wait.
Man, right, she'd be really useful. She's real strong.
Gonna go over to Zurasa. Zurasa!
Oh, hello. You're okay.
Are you okay? I'm fine.
I'm well undamaged. It was. Why would they do that? What?
I don't know. I mean, Tarth has their own agenda. Clearly, they used to run this place. Obviously, they wanted it back.
I do not like them.
No, We warned you. That's what they were like.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought me here instead of letting them take me.
Me too. You're doing a good job.
Oh, I'm doing a job. It needs to be done, so I'm doing it.
Do you know how many injured there are? Roughly.
Not at the moment. As you look around, you can see that there are maybe a dozen or so individuals who are being tended to. You can see that there are probably at least 4 bodies that have been recovered so far. But they've already been covered by sheets, so as not to be too distressing for people in the area.
I mean, not to sound cold, but what of the library? Have you seen what happened to it?
Zurasa says, there's been some superficial damage to the building, but I believe that its contents are mostly intact.
Good.
I have seen, and David's having a mental blank, the librarian, Rosaxa.
Oh,
yeah.
Rosaxa,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I've seen the librarian, Rosaxa, and she is shaken but well. She is searching the buildings for anyone who needs assistance.
Right, good. Do you want me here? Should I stay?
Zurasa says, I believe we currently have what we need, unless there is something you need us to do here, or you need to do here.
I mean, I don't think so. Perhaps I should go back to the orphanage to check on the children too. It's a lot happened today, didn't it?
And Zurasa says, great many things, probably more than I am aware of. At some point, I'll ask you to tell me anything that I don't know, and I will tell you what happened here.
Yes, I would love to meet up again when everyone's back together.
But first, I wish to help where I can.
Yes, we'll be doing a good job. I'll leave you to it. I won't get in your way.
Thank you for coming to see me.
Anytime. I guess he gets up. Is Izard still with Headstrong?
Yes. Headstrong is back to doing medical things, but is still speaking to Izard, who is basically... you get the impression, if you listen for a moment, that she is basically telling Izard, we need this, we need that, we need bandages, we need clerics, we need... she is basically saying, here are the things I need you to take care of so I can keep helping people.
Okay. Aussie's just going to put a hand on Izard's shoulder and be like, do you need me here? Do you need me to help with anything? Can I help?
He says, we need runners, we need supplies, getting a list at the moment. But if you have something you need to attend to, if you have family or friends that you need to look into, we have help here at the moment.
Okay. I did just want to go back to common ground to check the children.
Of course, yes, please do.
Right. I mean, Moore's as a cleric. Perhaps we can stop by later.
It's a good thought. We could, I'm sure healing will be needed all across the city, but certainly if he's not needed elsewhere, we'd welcome a little more up here.
Right. I suppose we should probably meet back in a few days or something. I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions asked.
A lot of meetings.
And he stops and says, "Okay, just to clarify, Dagmar, I mean Brunhilde, said that there are 5 council members."
Yes, I believe so. Killed.
That means 2 survived.
Possibly.
So we do still have a council for what it's worth. So there is still leadership in the city. That is something, at least.
Yes.
Okay.
And
right.
we can tell you everything that we saw when we fought the Tarthians.
That would be good, yeah. Okay. Right. I need to... She's giving me looks again.
Yep. No worries.
Okay. And
right, he's going to toddle back off to
common ground?
Eventually to common ground.
Yep. And we will now meet with everybody but Horsey, who has proceeded through the square towards common ground. As you go through the gate that separates the sort of that lower district from the arena district, to the right you can just make out this massive crater where the being of light that was Jasmina's power was manifested, and you can see how, as well as there being a dip in the center, you can see that the walls around it, parts around it, have just been lifted up as part of that warping effect that you saw as reality itself appeared to bend around this divine power. And you can see that there are people standing on the edge of it, looking down in just transfixed with awe and, you know, almost paralyzed by an indecision of what can we do about this? What is there to do about this?
Anyone here speak Orcish? Biddy?
No, I do not.
No, okay. Mozart is saying stuff, and it sounds probably like oaths, but also very, very, very sweary.
Cool.
And
I guess as we shoot past, if there are people milling about confusedly, I might call out to them and say, you know, who needs help? Where can you be useful?
there are a few people look at you, a few recognize you from the arena, but also just the way you're speaking, there's a sense of someone in authority who is, you know, looking to make decisions. That's good. That's what we need. A number of people approaching and sort of saying, you know, my home was there, and a few people saying, you know, my husband is missing, my son, my mother, and so forth.
In which case, I will say, well then, loss of home is a tragedy that we can no longer undo at this stage. Loss of life is something that we can hopefully limit. Congratulations, you guys, or you are now, well, I don't want to say in charge, but organize a group, go in there, see who you can save. Get ropes, get pulleys, pull them out, get them 2 doctors, 2 healers, 2 clerics.
Okay.
Go.
Give me a persuasion check, please. With advantage again.
With advantage again. Let's see how we go. Oh, that is a double 3, which makes it a 10, which makes it 16.
Bards.
Perfect sense. Yeah.
They look at each other and fairly quickly start, you know, knocking on the doors of the houses, some of which are already open, and some people just sort of run into the houses and look for anything they can use to help, and others start climbing down into the crater to see what they find.
Yep. Great. And in fact, as they go, I'll say, in fact, here, I'm going to pull my adventurer's rope out of my haversack and toss it to them.
Cool. Please remove that from your inventory.
I will. Now I find out if I actually had rope. Oh, I didn't. Never mind. I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't know that my forgery kit is going to be helpful in this particular instance. Ignore me.
Okay. So, you make your way to common ground. You find, again, a number of the buildings you're going past. This area seems to have suffered very light damage. Few broken windows, roof tiles. One building one of the walls has collapsed, and you can just see into this person's living room. But you're not finding any significant injuries as you go. Common ground appears to be almost perfectly intact. Again, a few roof tiles have come down as the ground shook, but otherwise it is looking to be in good condition.
Well, Connie was in the time stop with us, but she wasn't when we left, so I guess we're assuming that she's somewhere here. So Mozart will be sort of running through the halls, taking stock of who's okay, and asking the kids if there's anyone missing or anything like that.
So you can see a number of the kids are in the garden area, in the you know, central courtyard. And they're all wandering around looking quite confused. But one of them will point towards the tall building in the corner, which is, you know, is where Nexa lived, and it's also sort of the main business area, and says Connie is in. Tells you that Connie is in there, but Connie said everybody had to stay out.
We're gonna go bang on the door anyway.
Okay.
So Mozod will go up and sort of thump Mozodly on the door. Be like, Connie, you in it?
And
she's not going to answer.
there's a moment of silence, and then you hear locks being pulled, unlocked, and the door opens, and she looks at you and looks at this point it's the three of you, and
Dag, Sveti, and Mozod.
And you can see that she's been crying. She's quite distraught at this point, but she beckons that you all come in.
I will kneel and give her a hug if she's open to that as we enter.
She is not.
Okay, that's fine. I will offer, but not.
The moment you come close, she just sort of backs up a bit.
I will nod my head and just go in.
And she leads you. She closes the door behind you again, and leads you to. You see the small child that you learned was Desmina, is sitting on the floor in the same position, with her head down, her knees up, her arms around her knees. Same position that she was in when you saw her in your mind. But there is now something has appeared over her skin, over her clothes entirely. It's as though it's almost like ice crystals, but they have a sort of, they're more greyish than white. And she seems completely still. And Connie just points at Desmina and looks at the three of you and just shakes her head, as in, I don't understand.
You did it for us. Gave it everything she had. Saved everyone. Now she got a rest.
Yes, she did say she was sleeping, right? And that she would be asleep for some time. So I guess it's our job to watch over her until she awakes.
Keep her safe.
She looks at you, Vitericus, and signs something that you've started learning a few phrases, and this is common enough that you do understand that she's trying to ask how long.
That's the part she didn't tell us. She'll be asleep for. She didn't know when she absorbed and then redirected her power to you.
Who knows with them gods?
Yes. They work on a different timescale.
And she kneels on the ground beside Desmina and sort of goes to sort of try and touch her back, and then but pauses an inch or so away and pulls her hand back and looks up at the three of you and tries to indicate something, and then sort of motions her.
So that hurts.
And she nods.
Well, I suppose if she's got to sleep, we shouldn't try and wake her up.
Does Brian have any wisdom to share on this one, Morzad?
I don't think there's anything anyone would have. I mean,
has he gone to sleep before? What's that like?
I mean, he passes out sometimes. That's very true. But not like this. Not like this. No, I think I don't know if any of them could do something for this.
I'll let I'll let Morzod make a religion check,
Mm-mm.
and Vatericus can make an arcana check.
Religion.
Perfect. +1. Let's go.
Yeah,
Dude,
get it.
mine's a -1. I'm the best cleric. Yeah, 4.
I got a 6, so
No
neither
clue.
of us know anything. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Nah.
You have no idea what's going on.
Nah. But I mean, it makes sort of logical in a wisdom sense, which I am good at. But obviously, she spent it all, and she's gotta recharge, because that certainly was a big thing.
So yeah, and Connie is just sort of kneeling there, still looking at Desmina. She seems, as you've seen a number of people in the city at the moment, she seems paralyzed by indecision. She doesn't know what to do.
Clocking that a little bit, I might sort of come around, not behind Nexa with her, but I'll step a little bit closer to Nexa and I'll go, Connie.
She looks up at
Wait for
you.
the eye contact.
Yeah.
Wonderful. There is an entire orphanage of children here that need leadership and guidance at this stage. And Desmina entrusted you with that leadership. We need to help them now. Even as we look after Desmina.
Cool.
Next.
You'll be all right though. You got us.
And I'm
We're here with you.
not going
Yes,
to need.
we will
I'm not going to
definitely
need you to roll for that. There's when you say Desmina entrusted you with that, Connie's eyes flash with a bright blue light, and she lowers her head and looks up, and her eyes have returned to their normal sort of dark purple black hue, and she then stands up, and again with as you've seen a few times today, with newfound purpose, spins around and marches out into the courtyard. And Aussie, you arrive just as you see Connie striding out into the courtyard, and she's starting to speak to children, as in communicate with children, many of whom know a little bit of sign language. They've been taught enough that they can take simple instructions.
Probably get
Is
the kids to start
Vatericus
helping.
and Morzod and Dags also coming out, or?
Well, I mean, Morzod would probably sort of follow to see that things are going all right. So he'd at least have stuck his head out. Yeah.
Hey.
I'll come down. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, how's the academy?
Bad. Is Connie okay? I didn't want to interrupt whatever she was doing.
I don't think she's okay, but
She has purpose at the moment, and that's
will be.
good enough for now.
That's good. What about Desmina?
Upstairs, interestingly enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's still there. I didn't think. I thought that would have body would have disappeared, but no, she's up there.
This might actually be a thing that you can help with. We have no idea what's going on, but it looks magic as fuck.
Sounds no different from usual. All right,
Yeah,
I'll take a look.
right.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. We'll go take a peek.
Yep.
Head back up the stairs then.
Yeah, so again, you see what the others saw of Desmina. But even as you're watching, you can see this almost ice-like formation slowly growing and solidifying around her.
Wow, it's like stasis or something. I've never seen anything like this before.
And
Can I make her?
Go to sleep.
yep, Aussie can give me a Arcana check, please.
13.
13
nearly
is
a 1.
better. Yeah. You're fairly confident that you're right, that this is some kind of stasis suspended animation thing. You don't really understand any of the rules around it, but you can surmise that it means Desmina will be okay, or is somehow protecting herself.
Right. If he puts his hand near it, his right hand, the uncovered one, is it like cold around it, or is it air, like room temperature, or?
It is very cold.
Very cold.
Almost painfully cold, and you're not even touching it yet.
That's really cold.
Connie said it hurt.
Well, I can see why. I was trying to think maybe we could move her to the academy and keep her somewhere safe while she recharges, but I don't know.
I mean, nobody knows she was here, right? Common Ground is not known to be the haunt of Desmina, so for now, she's probably about as safe as she's going to be.
True.
And if that's thickening like it looks like it might be, perhaps it'll be a protective shell in time.
It does seem that way. We should probably close this room off. I don't want children seeing this.
Connie is doing a good job of guarding it for now, but yes, I think we should reinforce the instruction not to be up here.
How old is she again? She's like 14?
14, yeah.
I mean, she's still just a child. Who's going to... The orphanage needs a governess or a governor or somebody, an adult.
I have faith that she will do an adequate job for now, especially with us here to help as much as we're able.
For now is fine. But...
Yes. Perhaps, in the coming weeks we'll find somebody to take up that position, but for now, I think it's just us and her.
All right. I wouldn't mind introducing her to Rala.
Yes, Rala Swift would make an excellent governess of Common Ground. Ooh.
Not a governess, more like a mentor. She's an avatar of Gemdemon. She knows what it's like to have a god's power inside of her.
Would Brian be interested in looking after the... Probably not. Never mind. Stupid idea.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't. I barely trust him to look after Morzord when they go out. Morzord looks after him.
Fair point.
Oh,
yes,
I could look after myself.
No, that's what I'm
Also
saying.
a
You look
fair
after
point.
him. Yeah.
Yes, perhaps I shouldn't leave the god of cheer and wine in
Yeah,
charge of a bunch of
drunken
children.
revelry around a bunch of 6-year-olds.
Drunken Uncle Brian, though. Shopping in to
Visit.
make sure everyone's okay.
I don't even want him visiting, honestly.
Oh, yeah,
That
no.
seems
What's
fair.
what she's saying about mod dating?
Completely inappropriate. But yes, in terms of the academy, the Mage's Tower was attacked. I was talking to Izud. He doesn't even think they're going to find bits of the Archmage.
I was just about to ask how bad it is, but that,
Pretty bad. Zeras is fine.
No good.
good.
Completely
Good to
undamaged.
hear.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. There were some students who were killed. Some are injured.
Boy, do they need much help up there?
Actually, perhaps in coming days, Morzord, you could go and help out as a cleric there. But
Okay.
I'm sure lots of people around the city need cleric.
Gonna be a busy
Least-
time.
There's magic users there at least, so they have something.
Do you see
but
that big hole on the way down here?
Did also see the big hole?
Give me a perception check.
Sure. Perception. Oh, there's my nat 20 for 25. I saw that hole.
You saw that bloody
saw
hole.
that hole. Yes, you very much saw that hole.
I did, Morzord. It was very large. I don't think it was really a hole. It was more of a crater.
And you were just able to make out that as well as a crater, there is actually a hole in the center of it.
There was a hole inside, you know, like the island on a lake, on an island on a lake. It was like a hole inside of the crater.
Hole in a hole. Oh.
So I don't know what's down there, but
That's where that big thing
Oh.
came from, wasn't it?
Yeah, seems. I hope those people don't fall down that hole. I'm sure they'll be fine. They know what they're doing.
what? I'm sorry, back up. What people?
There were people milling without purpose. I sent them to look for survivors and triage as appropriate.
You sent distressed and potentially injured civilians into an even more dangerous situation
None of
than they
them looked
just got out of.
injured. They were fine.
Physically, mental injury stays with you, Vitericus.
Look, everybody's going through some stuff at the moment, but there are people who might be trapped. And so for now, we need all hands on deck.
Organization is what we need.
Yes, but in the absence of organization, we're at least going to start pulling people out of rubble.
Well, what now?
Well, on the pulling
Let's-
people out of rubble note, I think that's a good point to sort of fast forward through that afternoon's activities as each of you will probably scatter throughout the town to help wherever you can, to do whatever needs to be done.
Morzord can lift the heavy thing and put the heavy thing somewhere else.
Yep.
Aussie's gonna find Rex, see what he can help with
Rexlin,
him.
yep, you find Rexlin at the arena. He confirms that it doesn't look like there are any casualties at the arena. They were very lucky there. But there are still buildings in the area that need a bit of rescue and recovery.
But there was no one in the stands.
Yep. Conran left instructions that Dagmar is very much going around, and anywhere they need someone small and nimble to help with search and rescue, that's what Dagmar is doing.
Mm-hmm. I might stay with Connie and help her organize common ground a little bit and see what the kids can do to maybe not help, but potentially information gather, like send them out just to walk the streets, assess the damage, get a sense of what's going on safely, not going anywhere at all dangerous.
Okay. Connie is very reluctant to let any of the kids leave common ground at the moment.
Probably pick just like only the oldest ones. What sort of age should they stay there till?
So if you're going to press it, I'll need you to sort of role play a bit more about what you're going to suggest and then do a persuasion roll.
Yeah, so I think it'll be so Connie, I understand, I do, I really, really do, and I don't want to see anybody here hurt either, but we need to know what the damage is. We need to know where there are fissures in the ground, like there are over in Arena Square. We need to know where there are sections demolished or still on fire even. And as much as I trust the city to look after that, I would like us to be able to be useful where we can. I don't want to put them anywhere dangerous. Just walk around the streets like they do when they're selling flowers and collect information instead.
Give me a persuasion roll with disadvantage this time.
Ooh, what? Oops. Well, that's a 17, which is probably as high as I'm going to get. Nope, 17 is the low one, so that's 23.
Wow. Okay. That was always going to be a very hard persuasion to make, but she eventually relents and picks out just 3 of the oldest kids, writes out some instructions for them, and they agree. They seem quite eager to get out and help wherever they can.
Yep. In which case, then I'm then going to say, okay, for everyone who's left, did you have a plan for them?
And she looks at you, and there is actually almost a look of desperation in her face. That she's sort of, you get the feeling that she's feeling quite overwhelmed at the moment.
Well, I will recognize
right
that.
on the edge of lost.
Yes.
She's a kid. Stop putting pressure on a child.
For now, she's looking after the orphanage, so I'm going to acknowledge that and say, okay, for now then, why don't we get them putting together food hampers? People are going to need to eat, and supply chains are going to be terrible for the next few days. Let's put together what we can and feed who we can.
And she thinks about it, and then looks at you, and there are a lot of, very few phrases that you understand in sign, but you have managed to pick up just the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
And she signs slowly. It takes a little time, but signs to you, you help.
Of course.
And she nods.
Let's do this.
And says, and then signs again, need you speak.
It would be my pleasure.
Okay, so that then turns into essentially Vetericus giving instructions to the kids, but with Connie very much making the decisions and relaying instructions through Vetericus.
Yep.
And so that is basically going to be what the rest of this first day involves. And each of you, I assume, eventually return to common ground as the sun goes down. You get the impression that pretty much all of the rescuing that needs to be done has been done in that first day. As the common buzz around town is that it's surprising how few were actually injured or lost, and eventually you get the impression that before the tremors began, before the earthquake began, everyone had been taken over by the rage, the power of Desmina, and had left their buildings to look for Tarthians to fight.
I was thinking about that when it was happening. I'm like, oh, nobody's in the houses when they fall down because everyone's got the rage.
So even though a lot of buildings have come down, very few of them came down with people inside them. So it's nowhere nearly as bad as it could have been. Even so, there's very much a somber feeling as everybody beds down for the night, which is not helped at all by the fact that the ever-present blue glow that has been over this city every night for as long as it has existed is no longer there. And it is actually replaced by a very dim red light, because the bright moon is almost a new moon. It's basically just a slither of light, and the dark moon, which shines red, is almost full, a bit over 3/4 full at this point. So it's an unusually dark and slightly menacing night. But yes, and I imagine you all have somewhat restless sleeps.
Yeah, just before we go to sleep, as we're sort of eating together, I'm just going to catch everyone and say, so this town is going to need stories, and fast.
What do you mean?
Surely you've read the mood. Yes, people are somber. They need, as much as we need to rebuild the city, we need to rebuild the spirit of the people in the city.
I see. And what were you proposing?
Yes, as useful as I am, I'm sure, with my 9 strength at lifting rocks, I'm going to be much more useful telling stories and keeping people going rather than, working myself, of course. But here is my question. When I tell the story of Cova Fenn's route from Providence, how do you want to be included in that story? Are you Supercell and the Iron Chef, or are you Orsi Lichtenbraun and Morzod Grodgubbins? Brynhilda, I assume, is going to be Brynhilda.
Look, I don't think I need to be the be the arena thing. I'm just me. I'm doing my thing.
Me either.
Okay. Thank you, team.
Which one are you gonna be?
I will be me.
Not the old fella.
Well done avoiding the answer.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to take a break, and we will be back in a moment, where things will start moving a bit faster, I promise. And yeah, we'll see you soon. And we are back. And there was evening and there was morning, and it is the next day. My heroes have slept through a stressful night. After a stressful day, they wake to the morning after a disaster that could not reasonably be described as natural, but has had
pretty unnatural disaster, really.
But has had many of the symptoms of a natural disaster. So this is where we're going to start speeding things up a bit, so that we can so that I can give our poor characters some downtime so they can rest and not be in mortal peril every single day.
Biddy will enjoy not having more stitches.
Probably.
So there are still a few rescue efforts happening around town, but it is not so much pulling people out of rubble as making sure that there is no one left to pull out of the rubble, as it has already been established that it was the earthquake hit at perhaps the best possible time. It's also starting to become clear that as people walk around the, who is missing and so forth regarding the, especially the great big crater that appeared, that there was hardly anybody there when it happened. And some are certainly attributing that to Desmina's grace, to move the people away from where the danger would be before summoning the giant kaiju. So,
Man, if it had been Godzilla just popping up out of the sea, that would have been all right.
We have a sea titan that need another.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I mean, he's probably got Godzilla on the speed dial in that case.
So, during day 2, each of you receives a message asking you to attend the council, which is now meeting in the arena of Providence. So to put it simply, the council, which is currently just the 2 survivors who weren't in the Panopticon when disaster struck, they are trying to get to the bottom of everything that happened, and while rescue attempts and so forth go on, they've been quite happy to delegate coordinating those to people who are, specialized in that sort of thing. They've decided that their job is to basically form an inquiry, speak to everybody who was at the Panopticon, and they also summon Rala Swift, since many people saw her fighting the Tarthian ship. And when there's someone throwing lightning, then there's a question of, okay, who is that? What is, do they know anything useful? And there's also a general request has gone out. Basically, runners are running up and down the street shouting, anyone who is witnesses to what caused the events of the disaster, please come to the council and give a report. So
supply WTF.
So the question to each of you is, do you attend? With your request, there seems to be not so much a threat of, consequences if you don't come, but there is an expectation that you will come because you have been identified as being at the Panopticon when things went sour.
Mozart would heed the summons.
Cool.
I think if Aussie could steal a brass bowl from Morzord's kitchen the night before and summon glow, then he's going to show up on time.
Sure. Yep.
You've been burning things in my mixing pot again.
I needed my owl.
That's fair. That's fair. Just gonna give it.
Everybody needs an owl.
Did we want to, perhaps, if we're going to talk to the council, skip over the fact that we were there spying on the Tarthians?
Oh, that's a good question, because, you weren't even there as you.
Yeah, Vitaricus the Soothsayer was not there.
Vidi was conspicuously absent.
Alkinoth the Writer was present.
What do you think happened to our buddy in the dungeon?
That is a question I have for Izard, and we're going to figure that out.
I mean, do you think we should be forthright?
No.
What are we gonna do? Let him out and say, "All right, all your lads."
I don't know why I bothered asking you.
What a question for Vetericus.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Let's just say we were
toss him
there
in
for
the
whatever reason,
Bay.
and we will answer questions about the Tarthians, but we won't answer questions about why we were there.
Right. So if they ask, I was sightseeing.
Yes. Well, you were there in the temple, right?
I was sightseeing.
Yeah, indeed. And you observed, you saw a shifty Tarthian. See? We're not even lying. It's
I'm
fine.
not... Oh, fine. I'm not good at lying. You know I'm not.
All right. I am.
I know you are. All right.
All right.
Well, I have Glow now, so... I'm sorry, Glow. I'm sorry you were poofed.
Is she feeling better?
I think she's okay.
Yep. Glow nuzzles into you, just seems happy to see that you're okay. Because poor Glow didn't know what happened after she disappeared.
No. Well, what's he filled her in? Sure, he was just sitting up at night telling her. Right, so...
Yep, so you proceed to the arena. As you arrive, you actually see Izard leaving, and he notices you. And he walks up to you, Aussie, and says, I told them everything. Best just be open, be honest.
See, that's what I said. Now, when you say you told... Oh, shut up, Vetericus. Right, okay, so they know about Vetericus and our plan and the Crystal Guard, and we're all above board.
He nods and says yes. The only thing I haven't told them about is our friend in the necklace. It didn't seem relevant.
Are they still there?
How are they?
He says, I haven't checked today. I've been preoccupied, but if you drop by later, maybe we can try and talk about what to do with him.
Just making sure you hadn't smashed the necklace in a fit of Tarthian hunting frenzy or anything like that.
It had crossed my mind, but no.
Fair enough.
I mean, Zurasan made it. I'm sure it's very hardy.
That's true.
Not that you couldn't do it. Anyway.
So you front up to the council, which is composed of two individuals. There is a tabaxi, male tabaxi, is very tall, brown eyes, soft striped black fur. So it's black fur with white stripes. He introduces
high contrast.
Yeah, it's a square pockmarked face and is missing his right ear, and is wearing what looks like a very fairly fancy merchant. It's the kind of thing that a wealthy merchant would be wearing. And his name is 11 Violet Knights. And the other surviving council member is a female hill dwarf. Very hard to judge her age. She seems fairly old, though, so 200 or 300 years old at least. Short, curled auburn hair, blue eyes, brownish skin. And she seems fairly friendly and polite, whereas the tabaxi seems rather aloof. But they both clearly mean very serious business when they begin the inquiry. So following Izard's advice, do you explain everything truthfully?
Yeah, Aussie does. It's like someone's just opened a faucet. I think he rambles.
Cool. So I think Aussie probably goes first then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of Mozarty backup, honestly.
Yeah.
Nodding and grunting for what those guys say.
Cool. And the council will basically ask you whether you confirm everything Aussie has or have anything to add.
Also doesn't really.
Guess we didn't really know that the guy in the other room was the one who actually shattered things, did we?
No.
In the end.
Dags would be the only one who...
Assumption.
Yeah. One of the things the council says they're trying to work out is how the crystal was destroyed. What exactly led to it, and They are saying, look,
together?
we're not particularly interested in theories or supposition. We want as many facts as you can give us from as many sources as possible so that we can work it out.
I'm gonna roll to see if Morzod put together the humming and the stuff that Zaraza talked about, because he did twig when she said, I've got this weird humming feeling. He's like, ooh, because being medical, he's like, is that a thing for constructs? So I'm just gonna roll. What would I roll? I wonder. You got any ideas, DM?
Intelligence, just straight up intelligence, I think.
Straight up in. Well, that's -1. Yeah, boy. Yeah, so is that how I do it? That's how I do it. Nah, that's a 5. He doesn't put it together.
Okay. Aussie, though, I think, I'll get an intelligence check from Aussie for the same thing to see whether Aussie makes that connection.
Yarr.
Because I know you as players did, but it's a question of whether the characters did.
17.
17, that's good enough.
I did, yeah.
So that becomes part of Aussie's story, and when they hear that, they'll decide they need to talk to Zurasa about it. And Zurasa explains that the feeling had been sort of coming and going in waves, like the frequency was constantly changing for the entire time that they were in Providence.
They were checking it. They were trying to...
Yeah, they were doing the frequencies.
Yeah,
damn.
And Zurasa had found it uncomfortable, but had assumed it was just part of the city because she'd never been to anywhere like Providence before.
Without,
You might even have been the crystal that was doing it. Except the night before the disaster, it stopped. And it didn't happen again until the crystal was destroyed.
They found it.
That is the council's leading theory now, that the Tarthian delegation found the correct frequency the night before you went in to investigate. And so the next day was them basically trying to set things up so that they could do a perfect first strike.
Tarthian dickhead with his ear against a radio going...
And the line of questioning then leads into, how did they respond when you started asking, when Vitericus is up there, and they seem to be thinking, okay, you scared them into acting too early, and that actually meant that actually saved the lives of these 2 council members who would have been in the council room shortly afterwards, and it's probable that they were
play
waiting.
That up a little bit.
Yeah, it's probable that the Tarthian delegation were waiting for the entire council to be there so that they could leave a complete power vacuum at the top that they could step into. And they're also they also, of course, bring in the priest, Hurden Silverfin, who very truthfully recounts everything that he observed. Including that it was Aussie who spotted that the Tarthian was preparing to use a scroll, and it was also Aussie who sabotaged the teleportation circle, which quite possibly prevented any reinforcements coming through. A question that comes up a few times is, do any of you know what happened to the power of Desmina, or where Desmina herself is?
Morzodi shrug. Anytime that's asked. Men of few words, and luckily so, conveniently so.
And I will say that while this inquiry is in front of the 2 councillors, but there are also a few other people present, so some sort of administrative people, a few guards and so forth. So it's not an entirely private affair.
No, your guess is as good as mine, is the implication that Morzod puts across.
Yeah.
I think Aussie says the last he saw of the power, it was stamping into the ocean.
Okay.
Which isn't a lie.
I mean, no, that thing was pretty wild.
He's just not telling the whole truth.
I'm probably going to follow a similar tack, but also make it a bit more of a storytelling thing, that the power, that the Tarthians, idiots that they are, freed the power of Desmina to go into the people. And then it was coalesced into this avatar that walked into the ocean and broke the back of the Tarthian invasion before
you all felt it. Everyone got real angry.
Yeah, and they agree. They're coming to the conclusion that the Tarthian plan was flawed to begin with, in that it was only ever going to destroy the crystal and not the power that it housed, which was probably what they meant and hoped to do. So all they managed to do was really just seriously piss off the god that they were trying to kill.
They opened the cage door is what they did.
The tiger is out. Yes.
So as they conclude their questioning of each of you, which takes a few hours, there is a certain intensity to it, but you never really feel like you're being interrogated. You feel as though they're just genuinely trying to make sure they know the full picture. As it comes to the conclusion, that they do commend you for your efforts, and thank you, and say that they will probably be in touch with you again as they try to put more pieces of the picture together.
We're player characters, we understand.
Yeah. As you step out of the arena, you can see that the old airship, that the city's airship that was captured after the original revolution some 60 years ago, has taken flight and is hovering over the city. As the some individuals from the Coruscant Academy are using it to basically survey the damage from above. Eventually you learn that one of the apprentices of Master Zoot went up with it so that he can note down alterations to make to the map, and so that the map that we are looking at in Foundry was drawn from the vantage of that airship, so that they could get a good aerial survey of everything that had been done to the city.
Do we have to pay 30G for the new one?
No, at the moment there is not a new map being handed out, but the apprentice does proceed to essentially hand it over to the council to help with coordinating everything that has to come next.
Handy having a ship.
Is there anything else you want to do or say to the council before we move on to the next day?
What's their plan? They're going to get more people?
They say they're not at liberty to talk about their immediate plans for the security of the city, but they are discussing many options. And if you have any suggestions, they would welcome them.
Would Aussie say that the governess of Common Ground was killed and that they need a new one?
Oh, that's a bad idea. Don't say that.
Mate, I don't think you'd say anything.
Vitericus is going to step into the slightly awkward silence that Aussie has left as he opens his mouth, thinks about it for a second, and closes it. And I'm going to take a moment to big up Silverfin, to praise his skill at arms in defending the Panopticon from the Tarthians as they made their escape, their cowardly escape.
Him and his spiritual Power Rangers.
Spirit Guardians,
and to praise his leadership post-calamity, whatever we're calling it. If it's picked up a name yet, in triaging people, healing them, and making sure that people were safe in the immediate aftermath of the Panopticon's collapse. And suggest that he may make a good leader in the future.
Cool. The
head priest.
The council, the council are very grateful to hear this. Herden Silverfin himself actually seems quite uncomfortable with the praise, and he doesn't make eye contact with you at the end of proceedings.
That's even more important. Like, you can tell if he doesn't want the praise, he's good.
So, rest of that day, with rescue operations wrapping up, it's starting to get into actual repairs, rebuilding. People have started hammering together, makeshift wooden bridges to go over the fissures that have appeared throughout the city. Efforts are now being made to make access to the Panopticon and the airship plateau a bit easier, so you're not climbing over loose rocks. So, you know, some scaffolded steps are being put in, just hammered together out of wood. So that was day 2. Day 3. It's a bright, sunny day. Everybody wakes with there's now more of a feeling of, okay, you know, it's happened. There's no longer, it looks like the threat has passed. The Tarthians aren't coming back anytime soon, that we can tell. It's time to get on with the job of, you know, burying the dead or cremating the dead, which is the normal practice. Cremation is the default. Burial, you know, practices for what to do with the body after death vary depending upon the god that you follow, but for most it is cremation. It's seen as the most efficient way to make sure that necromancers don't have anything to play with.
Good, that's good thinking.
About halfway through the day, so early afternoon, a ship sails into the harbour. It's quite obviously a corvette of the Twilight Imperium, the Drow Empire. But it is flying flags of peace, and it has symbol flags down the front sail that are saying very clearly, we are here to help. And word gets about that this ship has come up from Evernight, and it is here to assist in the defense of the city until a long-term solution can be found, since the city no longer has a crystal to shoot things out of the sky with.
Zod's hackles might go up just a little bit, knowing that those guys are nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not going to act, but, like, if you know him, you'd know that he's sort of...
Yeah, there are a lot of people in the city who are uncomfortable about the Twilight Imperium having a military presence. They're not very popular. Any dwarf who is loyal to the Stonehold States would be livid about this, because the Stonehold State, because the those dwarves and the Twilight Imperium are actively at war at the moment, and the Imperium has committed many, numerous atrocities against the dwarves. But there are also a great many dwarves in the city who have, no allegiance to the old ways and to the old kingdom. It's not their war. The Providence is their home. And so there are mixed feelings about, hey, it's good to have some cannons on our side out in the harbour, but they're not entirely happy about who's providing them.
From whence the cannons have flown.
I think I'm going to run down to the docks then and offer my skills as interpreter, go-between.
Cool.
Daywalker.
Docks. Aussie's going to go because he loves docks.
You find that the ship is actually, it's not docked. It's anchored out into the harbour, so it can be ready for action if it needs to be. But there is also, the city does have already has an embassy for the Imperium.
Sweet.
Who are coordinating with the council and basically giving various assurances that this is purely a peacekeeping mission, that they are here at the disposal of the city, and if at any time the city wishes them to leave, they will do so.
Cool. So I guess while we're here, is the wreck of the Dreadnought, so the Tarthian ship, anywhere visible, or is it sunk at this stage?
It did not sink. It took some damage. Yes, Rala Swift's testimony at the inquiry was that the shortly after the crystal exploded, the Tarthian ship started to make maneuvers and then started to bombard the beach and any defensive fortifications nearby. But it looked like that they were caught unawares. They were expecting a bit more heads up. And the Tarthian ship started to actually unload troops who tried to storm the beach, but rather then rushed forward and basically single-handedly stopped them. And she was very highly praised by a lot of people, and she is now personally overseeing the repairs to be done to the ship, and it seems likely that she will be given command of it afterwards.
Hey, she got a ship.
She got her ship.
If Orsi could get a moment with her at any point, he would.
Yeah, you can do that right now.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Rala, while you're here.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
I saw your lightning bolts.
Oh, yeah. So I'm getting better.
They're fun, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like peeking out.
It's it's that rush that goes through you. Yeah, it's so nice to be on, not on the receiving end, but delivering them. It's
yep. It's a little traumatic each time, but I love the smell of ozone. It's great.
Oh, is that what that is?
Real clean and fresh.
Excellent.
Anyway, I did have to ask you something, just real quick.
Yeah, shoot.
Where are we, by the way?
I'll say you're
Are we at the docks?
You're at the docks, and the ship is. You're probably actually on the ship, which is now.
Oh, sick.
Which has been brought back to the docks. Yeah.
Cool. I assume Vitericus is here too, if he wants to be.
It's up to him. Wander off for nefarious purposes.
Okay. Cool. Right. Anyway, hey, so about Desmina's power.
Yeah, it's bit disconcerting. Like if it was in the crystal and the crystal can be destroyed and the power just goes away, like what happens if someone kills me? I mean, I guess I've got bigger concerns then, but
Well, cool. That was a bunch of stuff that I didn't think about until now. So that's great. Now I have to lie awake thinking about that. So thank you.
Sorry.
If I tell you something, can you keep it a secret?
Yeah, that's been most of my life, so go ahead. Remember, I was a professional smuggler, before we met, so...
You were, right. I thought you were a ship captain.
Yeah, ship captain who smuggled things.
Oh, right. Anyway, he's going to say this really quietly. If I told you that I knew where her power was, would you be able to help?
Help? Depends on what you need.
Well, you're an avatar, right? You have the power of Gendaman, right?
Wait, you're saying that her power went into someone?
Yeah, it did.
Who? Is it you?
Do I look like someone Desmina would give her power to?
I thought it would be impolite.
Cognitive capacity for that.
I thought it would be impolite to just assume it wasn't you, so...
It's fine.
I mean, no, honestly, I'm not getting those vibes from you, so...
Yeah, no, that wasn't going to melt my cold, dead little heart. No, it was a kid, a little girl.
Why? That's...
I mean, if you meet her, you might get it, but she's an orphan at the orphanage we're staying at, the common ground.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked up if you think about it.
Yeah.
But...
Unless, I mean... I guess Desmina isn't dropping this kid in the middle of the ocean or on top of a mountain.
No.
No, that's not really... It's not really her style, I guess, so...
I've met 3 gods, personally, and all 3 of them I wouldn't... 2 of them I wouldn't say would not drop a child in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, well...
Ryan would only drop him if he fumbled.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The big guy, he's a bit of a dick. But...
Yeah.
I kind of respect it. I mean, I have to say, I was... I was a follower of Gendaman even before the whole jumping into his Titan thing happened.
It's sailor, right? Yeah, pretty common.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's just a kid. She's about 14, which isn't that old. So I was wondering if maybe, because you're the only other avatar that I know, maybe you could mentor her kind of a little bit, maybe. She seems very scared. Or at least talk to her. She's mute, so she can't talk back.
Look, I'm not really good with kids.
She's really, really mature for her age, considering she had a god put power in her, and now she's basically in charge of like 50 other kids.
Give me a persuasion check, please.
Oh, God. Why did Vitaricus have to leave me?
I don't know. You saw what happened that time we were trying to convince the guard. Maybe you don't need him.
9.
9.
Maybe you do need him.
I want my bard.
She says, oh, look.
Look, you don't have to mentor her. Could you just let her know that there's someone else with the power of a god inside of them so she doesn't feel alone?
Look, you can tell her that. And look, if she wants to, like, come and talk to me about it, I guess I'll be here. But I don't think I'm comfortable with just sort of walking up and saying, you know, hey, so I hear you're an avatar. Let me show you how it's done. Because I'm just
don't
learning
do that.
it myself.
Well, you're also a grown adult, and she's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, just don't tell anyone, all right?
No, yeah, that's a lot for a kid to... Whew. But...
Another news, nice boat.
Oh, hey, yeah, nice on the boat.
I'm sure that can carry a lot of avocados.
I'll tell you something, though. It's actually a bit of a relief knowing that Desmina's power is still here. I can understand,
way, right?
you know, like you don't want to throw this kid to the wolves, and I'm 100% with you on that. But at the same time, I think I might make people a bit more comfortable if they know Desmina's still protecting this place.
But we can't let people know it's a kid.
Yeah, you're right.
And that, were you here when that dragon attacked? What's going to happen if that thing comes back?
Yeah, I've been trying not to think about that.
Well, anyway, congratulations on the boat. If you find anything cool on it, let me know.
Yeah, will do. Thank you. It's it looks like most of the cool stuff they already, you know, the delegates took with them. It's basically just a bunch of a bit of gold, which has been nice, but stuff. Yeah, it's just boat stuff.
Boat stuff. Yeah. Well, hey, you know, I'm always on board for avocado business when we get a chance.
Yep, haven't forgotten.
Cool. Anyway, all right, I'm going to go find... Where did Vitaricus go?
So,
Mozart's always here.
I've wandered off to check on the appraiser for the collectors.
Okay.
Yes. The usual spot.
You find the appraiser is no longer there. The site, the place that he inhabited appears to have been emptied out and abandoned.
Okay. In that case, then I will probably wander back some way through the Swift conversation and join. Captain Swift, nice boat.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of that.
Thanks. I mean, I didn't exactly build it, so I can't take much credit for it. It's nice to have it, though.
Yeah, indeed. So does this mean that you don't need our help for that other thing, or would you still like to have another boat?
Oh man, 2 boats.
Oh look, I'll take any boat you can get me, but
I offered you a boat.
Yeah, it's less urgent now. But it's more a case of, look, the thing I needed the boat for, I can't talk about yet. But I have a thing I want to do, and I might need some help with it when time comes. Like, you know, I don't need a crew. I can get a crew. That's the easy part. I might need people with your skills, I'll say,
characters
when the time comes. Yeah, people with more than 3 levels.
Yes,
you must be above these levels to play.
Fair enough. You know where to find us.
Indeed. Send out the call, and we will attend if able.
Will do. In the meantime, it looks like I'm sort of part of the city's defense team at the moment. Like, the council's commended me on defending the place, and said that it gives them comfort to know that I am here to stop any further attacks on the docks, which is not really my plan. I was hoping to just grab a ship and run, but I guess I'm here for a little longer, at any rate.
Yes, it's funny how Providence gets you to hang around, even if it's not the original plan.
Yeah. And I'm certainly not going to just leave this place with just a Twilight Imperium ship to watch over it. I don't trust those people.
Yeah, that's an interesting wrinkle.
They wear way too much leather.
Have you spoken with the crew over there at all yet?
No, they've shown no interest in speaking to us. I mean, they've been watching us. You know, it's like every time I look over there's someone with the spyglass trained on us.
Wonderful. Can you point out the person with the spyglass? Are they there at the moment?
And she does. She sort of looks over and says, "Yep, see, up in the mizzen mast, there's one looking right at us right now."
I mean, I feel like that's to be expected.
Get your bum out, moon him.
Well, is there a question for the DM? Is there a Twilight Imperium-y hand greeting that I can throw, like a gang sign, basically? Yeah.
Let me think. I'll do a roll. It'll determine.
Actually, no. If it's the drow, it's probably like one of these.
No, there is no hand gesture for "I'm one of you."
Is there a international, like, maritime? Aussie hangs around the docks all the time. Surely he's got to know how to say.
Those are the flags that they run down the front sail. Yeah.
Get your semaphore on. So
and that was what the that was how the ship signaled when it arrived that, you know, we're here to help. Don't worry, you know, we're not a threat.
Okay.
Just wave at them if you want, for Terragers.
I was going to say, there's not like a cultural knack to waving in Undercommon.
No.
Specifically.
You could just wave.
I will wave, assuming that they can, well, I don't know how good their spyglass is, but I will mouth a quick greeting in Undercommon.
Aussie's going to wave too.
Okay.
And then I will turn away and head back, you know, towards the city.
Cool.
Why do you just keep walking off?
Well, I mean, what are we doing?
I'm coming with you. Just go. You don't even ask.
It's what cool people do.
It's true. Voice of God from nowhere. Just cool people do it.
Aussie's going to follow along.
Goodbyes are so long and awkward. Just leave. It's fine.
So rude.
It's not illegal. The city guard can't stop you.
We were raised in a barn.
Among other things.
Explain a lot.
So, shall we? Where to next?
Well, that's day 4. Unless there's any other business anyone wants to take care of.
I need to get my dinosaur. I mean, our dinosaur.
Yep.
I suppose we all troop back to the magic shop.
Yep.
See the Daras.
Sabi has throwaway ready for you, and you can see that there is actually now a little bit of copper has been worked into the jade of the figurine, as it looks like she's basically made some little modifications. Rather than changing the spell of the statue itself, she's added sort of some additional enchantment. And she explains that the spell works much exactly like it did before, except you can now essentially reskin the dinosaur whenever it appears. It'll have any coloration you please. Just imagine it in your mind and it'll have it.
Gonna have thunderbolts.
Oh yeah. While they're there, Mozod would probably sort of inquire as far as because he's gone around being very clericy in the aftermath, and he sort of feels like maybe he should have a clericy thing to stick on him so that people don't assume that he is just another beef walking around. which leads into the amulet that I was asking about. So he's like, you know, have you got any ideas for I could, you know, just so that people know?
Yep. She is she's certainly excited by the challenge of creating some kind of amulet to enhance divine power. It's not what she normally does as an arcane enchanter, but she thinks that from what she knows about such you know, trinkets, that she can if you can sort of pay her to assemble the materials needed, she can sort of get it in a situation where it would then come down to you to formulate some kind of ritual that would be appropriate for your god, and she can then help you imbue this amulet with the power that you're looking for.
Okay, groovy.
But she says,
going to have to think on that. But...
Yeah, and she says, but it's not going to happen today. It's going to take maybe a week or two to get everything worked out.
Fair. Good right.
Cool. The rest of you going to ask for any commissions or anything like that while you're here?
How much was that staff? Sorry, Doug, you go.
No, go for it. No, you go.
How much was that Skyblight staff?
400 gold, I believe. Yes.
Never mind. Look, I copied down a lot of spells from those books that we stole. I didn't tell the council I stole their wizard books.
That's fine. I also didn't tell them that I have this.
Good point.
Defense mask. It's fine. They don't need to know everything.
Sabi does say she's.
Well, I was going to say, are we saying this in front of the Daras?
Probably.
Sabi is now happy for you to give you just the four of you a discount as favored customers. So it'll be, instead of 400 gold, it'll be 350 gold, which I think is probably still too much for Aussie at the moment. But
he's got to ask his dad for money.
How short are you, Aussie?
He's taller than you are.
I was about to say, I'm taller than you. By a significant amount, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I barely use stuff anyway. I don't accept charity. How dare you?
Fine.
When's your birthday, though?
I'm not telling you.
This goes in the underwear category. Gotcha.
Exactly. It's my secrets. I do need paper.
Fair.
I do need paper. He's just going to buy paper and ink and stuff.
Cool.
While I'm here, Sabi, can you do anything with these to make them this? And he holds up the Cloak of the Manta Ray and the Cloak of Billowing, and then fusion halves them. Can you make these this?
She explains that she can't exactly smoosh them together, but she can probably find a way to add the Billowing enchantment to the Cloak of the Manta Ray.
That would be perfect. How much is that going to set me back?
You just turn into a sea pancake when you're threatened.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me find out. So, a Cloak of Billowing.
I mean, that's the progression if we're playing Terraria. You get the things, and then you get the tinker, and then you put all the things as one thing.
She says it's the materials to apply the enchantment would probably cost about 20 gold pieces, and for your in recognition of your investment, she's happy to do it at cost.
Well, your investment.
Sorry, the group's investment.
Yes, we have invested quite a bit. Fine. Let's make that happen. I know that these are often art projects and that sort of thing, but if I'm going to have a Cloak of the Manta Ray that also billows, I no longer require a Cloak of Billowing. So let me donate this to the store as a thing that may go on to serve another owner faithfully.
And she says, with that, she'll waive the cost of the materials for the enchantment.
I bought that for you.
Oh, you did too. Oh no. Never mind. I'm just going to pay you, and we'll leave it there.
I do one nice thing for someone, and look what happens. That's why I don't speak to people.
No, it's lovely, and I do love it. But 2 cloaks is very hot.
I'm a wizard.
It's so hot right now. I can barely. It's just.
He's a wizard. 4 cloaks, McGee.
But you are right. There are times where I'm not going to need the Cloak of the Manta Ray, so I am going to hold on to the Cloak of Billowing, this wonderful gift from my friend Aussie Lichtenbron, and I'm just going to pay you the 20 gold.
Oh, we're friends now.
Oh, wow. You wound me. I gave you that weird staff that shot bugs.
You slapped me when I got that. The one you then
gave to Ezid.
Subby, for a moment, seemed quite curious about this staff that shot bugs, but then
No,
learns
we're
that you
standing
no
on the
longer have it.
sideline. Standing on the sideline watching this, and Mum and Dad are fighting again.
Mum and Dad are fighting.
Morzod and Dags and the shop owners just kind of, oh, I would step in, but no.
Just let them fight. Oh,
So-
actually, while we are here at the Enchantattooist, I do have
Enchantoists.
Enchanters. I do have a present for you, actually. And he takes out that telescopic lens that he ripped out of that little robot that we
yeah.
fought.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You seem to wear a lot of lenses. I got this out of it. Don't tell anyone. I stole it from the Genolton ruins.
You really ought to stop telling people the things you don't want to tell people.
Yeah, she is fascinated by it, and immediately starts, trying to work out a safe way to disassemble and inspect it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Very nice.
so shall we say that is day 4?
Yeah, can I run up to the Bard's College real quick and at
Sorry,
least get
day
the lay of
3.
the land on that?
Yes. So the Bard's College is part of the Academy. It's not a building in itself. It's basically just a... what's the phrase I'm looking for?
It's like a
Faculty.
It's a
Yeah.
faculty.
Somewhere in
That's,
there.
a department within the Academy.
Mhm.
They don't have a lot of bards there, but there are some sort of half a dozen or so.
Okay. Are they all sort of congregated briefly or somewhere? Like an artist quarter?
They can be if you're looking to address them.
Okay, great. Yes, I would like to.
Boyce is going to come along for the ride. He's not interfering there.
Okay. Let's just quickly go through. What are you trying to? What do you want?
So
of the
as they're
bards?
sort of milling around, I'm going to make to them the same pitch that I made to Ezid before. Say, well, look, people are busy rebuilding the bricks and mortar of this city, but somebody needs to rebuild the spirit of the people who live here, and that's us. That's bards. That's storytellers. That's songwriters. That's artists.
Of the people.
We have a job to do, and that job to do is to tell people that Tarth lost here badly. And so, my dear friends, my fellow artists, let me tell you, and I'm going to pull Cova Fenn's melted mask out of my pocket, about the rout of Cova Fenn.
Oh man.
All right. This is going
Go
to
down
be
in
a
history.
performance check with advantage because you have a very
You
good,
got that prop.
prop.
Prop work.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give you the silver mask too. I still haven't done that. Oh, buddy.
No, I rolled 2 4s, so it's only a 13.
Oh no.
Some of them think they could have told it better.
Probably.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
thought it
that is-
super critical.
Yeah, you can, as
that's
you're,
the point,
as
right?
you're
Like,
telling
yeah.
the story of Vitericus, you can tell that they are dissecting everything, every sentence, the sentence structure, your tone, everything. They're going, this is, the delivery is, could use a bit of work here. That, you didn't really lead
attacking
into
this-
that point. It's basically me every time I play a video game with voice acting into it. I'm always just every second line I'm going, oh no, I don't think that's what the writer meant. How the writer meant that to be delivered. Anyway,
I can see you viewing this through a postmodern
Wow.
frame, but really you need to take into account the context.
While Aussie is watching, he's just hanging out with the not band nerds. Is the is our little lover boy there? Where's our sweet little baby boy?
Loverboy is not part of the Academy.
Oh, that's it. He wasn't. Okay, I thought he maybe hung around the bards, but
No,
He
he
flunked.
is too good for them.
oh, of course he
Indeed.
was.
So I guess the salient points are going to be, we were sort of brought to the Panopticon by the will of Desmina for all intents and purposes, and put in the right place to defend it. I'm again going to big up Herden Silverfin, basically make him an honorary god touched for the purposes of this story.
Oh man, folk hero.
Yes, indeed, and talk up Brynhilda, Morzod, and Aussie, and the crescendo will be me melting Cova Fenn's face off, of course.
Okay. So there is a general, while they're excited about the idea of, yes, bards are important, storytelling is important, even in times of crisis, even when, physical, practical help is necessary. It's still important to have storytellers as part of how do people cope with this kind of thing. How do they reflect on what has happened? You're not sure that you've entirely sold them on a specific story, but you do think you've inspired them to go out and be a bit more active during this.
Wonderful. Cool. I will go out and tell that story sort of as we get time in bars and places of gathering and stuff like that, but that will just be a thing that happens occasionally.
Cool.
While I'm over the next weeks or so.
Okay.
Oh, while we're at the academy, should we check in on our friend in the dungeon?
Yes. Did we want
in the
Dags
jewelry?
and Morzord here for that?
Oh, do you know what? Maybe we should have. Should we actually have Dags here?
Yep, you're all there now.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Morzod's ever present anyway, but
Yes.
Just on the wind.
On the boat, everywhere. He was always
everywhere.
there. Only one set of footprints in the sand.
And so as you speak to Izard about it, he says, so the question is, what are we going to do to him? Do with him? What are we going to tell him?
Put him in the arena.
What do you mean?
Give the people a blood sport.
Oh my god! Have we got any lions? Lions?
No, we're not feeding him the lions.
The God-touched will murder this idiot.
The terrorists,
glory of Providence.
We're not murdering. I'm not going to say he's innocent, but no.
Imagine the theatrics of it, though.
What has gotten into you?
Okay.
Yeah, Vinny's acting a bit messed up.
So, Izard just rolled a 17 on his insight check to see whether Vitericus is being serious about this. Is he?
He's not being serious about murdering him in the ring, but he is serious about putting him into the arena and using him as a way to basically retell Tarth's loss here in a safe environment for the glory of Providence.
That's fucked up, man. Seriously.
That is fucked up.
There are clerics, he'll live. And then we'll just keep him in his necklace and he can come out every once in a while.
Just repeat him every rerun. Get the Tarthian out. Oh my god.
We're not keeping a human in a necklace for the next 1,000 years.
Okay. That's fine.
Gee. Ow. Gods in the celestial plane. Seriously.
Izard eventually says, look, I think we need to have another word of him, basically find out where we can put him.
I think we need to drop the act too.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's been getting us anywhere. I think we need to tell him what's happened.
It was very good, Vitericus.
Explain that, explain his current situation.
I mean, you did mention him to Curva Fen, did you not?
Not to Fen specifically.
Oh, it wasn't to Fen.
So,
right.
But one of the dead guys probably passed that along.
Who knows? He might decide.
Or he was dead, though.
He might decide it's in his best interests to stay here and not reveal his weakness to the Ascendancy.
That was going to be my pitch.
Yeah. So I assume you regather in the, the cone of silence, which I keep forgetting what I originally called it.
Yes. Can I? I'm not going to make a ton of work on it, but can I put on the Alkonost Ride outfit for old time's sake?
Sure. Is Aussie going to help?
Sure. He likes doing makeup.
Okay. I'll assume you don't need to do another roll at this point. You've done it enough.
Perfect.
So that boy needs therapy.
Izard holds out the necklace, says the command word, and Jeroskine appears, looks at you for a moment, and then collapses, and is now completely still on the ground.
Has anyone been feeding him?
I mean, it shouldn't matter. He's only been in there for what, like a couple of hours?
He was injured. Is there air in there?
Can I get an intelligence check from both of you, please?
Aussie's just having a time with this locket.
That is a natural 1 for Vitericus on intelligence.
25.
Oh my god.
Aussie,
bow down.
Your stomach sinks as you suddenly remembered something from when you identified this amulet.
Yeah.
The process of being transferred into it and out of it is traumatic. Every time it happens, you gain 1 point of exhaustion.
Oh, no.
It's happened 6 times now. 6 points of exhaustion mean death. And so this last time, he was in a void with no food and no drink, unable to sleep or rest. And when he was brought out this last time, he died.
Hey, Vatericus. I think I remembered something about that necklace.
That's probably a good thing. What did we remember?
I remembered that it's really bad for you to come in and out of it a lot.
Obviously.
Hey, Izud.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem solved itself, didn't it? Do we toss his body to the Titan in the harbour?
Well, is it there at the moment?
Probably. Whoops.
That
was on me. I'm sorry. I really should have remembered that.
Really think of anything else. I mean,
maybe a cleric can talk to his spirit or something.
I will say personally, I'm not all that interested in investing in any kind of resurrection spell for this individual. Can I assume that none of you are either?
It was a get.
Then,
well, that was our last chance. Just gone, flew out the window right there. Sorry.
Also, had that he had every opportunity to explain that he was feeling unwell or very tired, and he chose not to take it. So this is as much on him as it is on us. Well, yes.
Trash took itself out this time, didn't it?
Yep. We shall.
Can we chuck him back in the necklace? Does that work with Ted?
I don't believe so. I believe it has to be a willing.
Unconscious or deceased, so he could go back in the necklace.
Oh, why?
Just until we figure out what we're doing with him.
Cremate him.
That way we could. Well, it's a good way of getting the body out of the academy grounds.
I mean, we could just strip. What's gotten into me? We could just strip him and then put him on the funeral pyre.
Yeah, but then people will see us taking a body again.
Good point.
Yeah.
It's not that unusual given the circumstance.
Yeah, but even so.
But perhaps a bonfire in the wilderness is a better option.
Or what have we done with the other Tarthians? The ones in the Panopticon?
They were cremated.
Okay, they've already been cremated, so we can't just add him to that pile. It's a shame. Okay, yes, back in the necklace for now, and we'll figure out what to do with him later.
Okay. Are we gonna hang on to it? We should probably hang on to it from now on.
For future team.
We'll
just dump him somewhere.
Perfectly happy to not have this on my person anymore.
It's gross and I don't want to wear it, but Vatericus is yours.
Perfect. Let's do that then.
Also, the masks. Does every mask cast dissonant whispers, or is it was just the mask that
every mask works differently.
Every mask works differently.
Yeah.
I have the silver mask. Does it do anything? I assume Aussie would have poked at it.
I forgot to actually
that's all right.
Probably record that. We can talk we can sort that out for next week. Yeah. Yes, that and the golden mask, which is still functional. To an extent.
Just hand that mask to me over later, Vatericus. I'll see what it does.
Will do.
It still does.
Cool. So we'll say that was the third day.
That was the fourth day, or was that the third
that was
day?
the third day, I think.
You were saying 4.
Yeah, I meant to say third because it was the day. Right. It was the day that the Twilight Empyrean ship arrived, which was the third day. On the fourth day, the council releases the numbers of casualties and damages and so forth. Approximately 70 buildings were ruined. Many more were damaged. Total comes to about 140 dead, including that includes the council, the Crystal Guard, and the people in the public gallery. It doesn't include any Tarthians. They're not counted in that number. The council concludes that many, many more would have died if Demeanor's rage hadn't driven everyone out into the streets, if the manifestation of Desmena's power hadn't stopped the Tarthians. They also praise the heroics of many individuals throughout the day, though they don't name them at this point, but there is a suggestion that proper honours will be bestowed soon. Hundreds have been injured, but most of the injuries are minor. Day 5 passes. On day 6, another ship arrives in the harbour of Providence. This one is flying Talrassian colours.
Yay!
It's a bit larger than the corvette of the Twilight Imperium. This is a brig, whereas the Twilight corvette has 10 guns. This is a brig with 14 guns, complement of about 120 crew. And they come with the same message: we are here to help. They're now part of a joint fleet, which is protecting Providence. Day 7, another ship comes in. This one is from the Oceanic Trading Company, which basically handle pretty much all of the merchant trade across the Andalus Ocean, and they also run the town of Titan's Rest, which is a short distance from Providence, and they have sent a Xebec, which is and it's Latin rigged, and it has also, it's basically a coastal defending ship rather than a seagoing vessel, and it's quite heavily armed. This has got 18 guns on it.
That's a lot of pew.
Yep, and once again, they are here to help and offer their services, and you all get the distinct impression that everybody wants a piece of Providence now, and that all of these powers are saying, yes, we are now your best friend. The inquiry, the rest of the findings of the inquiry are published the day after this. They conclude that the Tarthians had no accomplices inside the city. It turns out this is the main thing they wanted to discover. And they conclude that no, it was all the fault of the Tarthians who had come in from outside. The 2 surviving council members conclude that the council's decision to allow the Tarthians to stay in the Panopticon was wrong, but the council paid dearly for it, as did the city. The council announces their confidence that Desmena still protects the city, but that Desmena also expects the city to protect itself. And a few days later, a Defence Advisory Council is formed, which is the city council has basically formed this, essentially a military council, to advise how are we going to go about the defence of this city. The chief members are Rala Swift, who is essentially the admiral of Providence now.
She's the boss.
And she seems rather displeased about the promotion. Izard is now the city's main advisor on magic, although the role of headmaster at the college has been given to Master Headstrong, now Headmaster Headstrong. And the clinic, the infirmary, is now handed over to her poor sleepless assistant.
Oh, the tired assistant.
Sorority. Was it Sorority?
Yes.
Yeah. Poor girl.
And so it's Rala Swift commanding, advising the Navy, Izard advising the magic users, and in terms of the army, that is handed over to a commander, Amalda Vernicht, of the it was a high-ranking town guard who had some military experience in the past back in Talras. And they start drawing up various plans about how best to go about the defense of the city in the future. Day 14 is the first day of the next month. It is Desminalia. This is the first day of Desmena's month, the 13th month of the year. It is the Feast of Desmond, which is rather somewhat subdued this year, but still observed with vigor in this city. Across the world, it is normal for there to be feasting and role reversal within the workplace and at home and so forth, where masters will tend to servants, where servants will instruct those who would normally be above them and what to do.
Fun.
Yeah, it turns into a day where people are quite happy to finally sort of let their hair down. There's also a remembrance of, there's always been, as part of this, a moment of remembrance of those who died during the revolution 60 years ago. Added to that, there's now remembrance of those who died during the recent attack. It's also been normal to celebrate the heroes of the revolution some 60 years ago. Added to that, the council now seeks to praise the heroes who defended the city in its darkest hour. And each of you is named as a hero of Providence, as well as Rala Swift and the priest, Silverfin. And so the feast goes on. Morzod, you do not see Bruin Luck. He does not seem to make an appearance this time. And to you, his absence is quite conspicuous. You'd expect him to be here.
Yeah. Morzod would probably sort of be in a constant state of trying to spot him in the crowd.
The next day, or maybe the day after, because there will be a few hangovers to deal with, the four of you are politely summoned to come to the council in the arena, where they say that they have a situation. To put it simply, the council is meant to have 7 people on it. There are 2. They're in the process of preparing for elections to start filling in the other spots, but in the meantime, they need a 3rd member who can be, first of all, a spokesperson, and also be a deciding vote whenever the current 2 councillors disagree. They emphasise it'll be a temporary position to be replaced as soon as elected officials are ready to stand. But they then say that they would like one of the 4 of you to take that position, and they will let you decide who it's going to be. And I think that is where we're going to finish tonight's session. And we can see what happens. We can see what our heroes say to that next week. So thank you very much for watching. It has been a great deal of fun for me, as ever. Thank you to my players. Kindwin will be back with us next week, and we shall sort of wrap up this part of the story and then move into the next adventure, because I have a great many plans for these people. They can't be happy and peaceful for too long. So thanks for watching. See you next week.